This is Entrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terri Levine. Listen every week as Terri tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. And now here's Terri.
Hello, Heartrepreneurs. Good to have you here at Heartrepreneur Radio and TV. This is Dr. Terri Levine, Chief Heartrepreneur. And I was asked yesterday on a radio interview, what do you mean by Heartrepreneur? And I think if you've watched the show or listened to the show at all, you know that it's someone who does business transparently, with integrity, and authentically. And let me tell you, I just got this wonderful little email from a client family member today, John, who said, ever since I learned to be a Heartrepreneur, I get more qualified prospects and more people want to have the kind of business and life and freedom that I have. So that's what we want for you. We're excited for you. And I have a special guest with me today. And I have Laleh Hancock. Now, she is not only a conscious parent, a seasoned executive, but she's a lifelong entrepreneur. She's committed not only in her professional life, also in her personal life, to inspire and to empower others. That's what we're here for, to help you recognize your greatest potential. And this is what gave me goosebumps, to create profound wellness in their bodies and their lives. So here we go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
I'm actually really excited to have you. So before we go forward, let's kind of go backwards. What took you on the path that you're on today? I'd love to hear a little history.
Yeah. It's funny because I think my whole life, I wanted to make others feel better, make them smile and bring health and wellness and joy into their world. And so that started as a young child. And as life does, we experiment with different things. I wanted to be a pediatrician initially. So my early studies took me into pre-med and working in hospitals and other places in the medical field, and realizing that, the type of medicine that I'd like to practice didn't exist back then. It was more of, come, let me give you some medication. You leave tomorrow, you come back if you have a pain. And that wasn't my style. And the thing that I loved more, or I'd say second, was actually growing businesses. So I went the business route and did that for over 30 years. And I still do. But in the last 10, 15 years, I've discovered it's not a separation, and when we are willing to have wellness, wherever it is, in your personal life, your body, your business, your relationship, your finances, it has the trickle effect to everything. And now I have multiple businesses that work with organizations and individuals, but also works with communities and works with wellness and bringing it in all aspects of their lives.
Wow. First of all, thank you for sharing transparently. I always love to hear, kind of the entrepreneur's path. How do we get to where we get? And so I know that you not only work with people in their business, you also are a really chief person in personal lives. So I want to ask you this question. When somebody hires, whether it's a life coach, a health and wellness coach, business coach, marketing strategist, are they looking for someone who can cross those bridges and help them in business and life and business? Or are most people I just want help here?
I think it depends. And where we are today, people are more curious to go outside the boundaries. My consulting business, we got started in 2009. What businesses needed back then was so much more structure of you're coming in to do X. But I have to tell you, every client that ever brought me in was usually the CEO. So they weren't looking at X. They were looking at this oneness, this holistic perspective of, okay, we have a pain point here. If you can help us with this, I wonder what else you can help us with. And it might have been that there was a problem. Like I remember one of my clients brought me in because within 10 business days, they had lost 40% of their staff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
That makes you open up your eyes and say there's a problem and we have to fix it, right?
Yeah.
But when I came in, it wasn't just focused on that one area of the business that was struggling. I ended up interviewing the whole organization, and his project for me was that. And I said to him, for me to do my job well, that's not going to be my best way to do it. And he said, listen, we just don't have the budget for it. And I said, it doesn't matter. If you really want me to do the work, give me the permission to go and talk to different people. There was 32 programs that they had, and I ended up interviewing every program as well as corporate office. And then we realized where the problems lied, not where they thought they were.
Yes.
And then that opened up another door. And then we brought people from all parts of the organization to come and be part of a group. And a group that wasn't coming just to share problems, because they started that way at the beginning, but how can we each bring solutions to really the challenges that are happening in the organization, and then look to the positive and what can we create for now and the future.
I love this. I really do love this. I've always found it fascinating. So I'll start with corporate and then we'll go to smaller businesses. I'd get hired by a really big company, a Fortune 500 company, and they would hire me for something really specific, just like you were talking about. Pretty soon, the project was something that went in a different way. I remember getting hired to transform a company's sales team, and within 2 months, we were not just doing their sales team, we were working on scripting and how to get leads and their marketing, and then the issues of communication within their team. And so that's one. And then even with entrepreneurs, I love this. They start out wanting business sales or marketing strategy, and pretty soon we're doing all kinds of things. You don't have the right market, you don't have the right message, you don't have the right niche, you have to be smaller, whatever it might be. So I'm glad that you said that. And I think if we as the consultants are open-minded to look at everything, and we have clients who are that way, then we can create the biggest difference. Would you agree?
Yeah, but one of the things I would say is a little bit different is most have no idea what they're looking for.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, keep going.
That's the thing. The pain point brought us in, but they have no idea what we're going to uncover. And so you as the consultant, your job is even greater to be that trusted advisor, that it's really looking at not just the problems, but most people are looking way too little. They're looking at today or 30 days from now or 12 months, but they're really not adding where does the business actually really need to be in 5 years, and how do we set the land today that can help today engage the employees. That's the piece I share a lot with my clients. Most do not engage.
Yeah.
They tell them what to do and they want it done, which is not really how you motivate people to bring up great ideas,
Exactly.
And then it's also constantly looking at things, because I do a lot of strategic planning, and so it's like, yes, we're looking out 5 years, but people never look at it ever again. They did the check mark, but they're not living their strategic plan. You have to live and know that strategic plan was only good for that moment that you created it. Today, it looks different. 6 months from now, your client base is going to be different. You have to look at it again, but not from there's a problem, but how do we keep making sure we're including the future in whatever we have?
I'm really glad you added that. I'll just speak to 2 quick points. I'm really, really glad you added that. I wrote a report. This has to be like 10, 15 years ago about the disengaged worker, which I saw as one of the biggest problems out there. And I included part of that in my book, Stop Managing, Start Coaching, because I see so many people trying to manage a human being. You can manage behaviors, not in my experience, not a human being. However, I still see the same thing today with a lot of disengaged workers and companies not even knowing how disengaged they are. So they have lower productivity, they have lower morale, they have more sick days, more workers' comp injuries, more turnover. So that's a really key point. And you know what? I don't hear a lot of people talking about this anymore. I don't know why. It seemed like it was a very hot topic, 10, 15 years ago. And now it isn't. And I think workers are just as disengaged as ever. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I've actually been talking about it on different radios and TVs as
Good.
well. Engagement is huge. I think more and more people realize they need to better engage their employees, and a lot of times I think that there's a misconception of what engagement actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Engagement is not just you saying, okay, I brought them all together in a group. We had some pizza. Now they're happy to be at work, and therefore they're motivated to do it. No, help them come up with the ideas of what's working, what's not working, and then start really looking not at just problems, because so often we're so focused on what's in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
we're distracted. We don't see the full picture. But if you start looking at, what are the different things we want to add to the business? Yes. Okay, if we do this, now we come over here, right? Okay, now these are the things that we need. That inspires, that motivates, but get them part of the conversation. Have them come up with the ideas, because when someone comes up with an idea, whether you use it or not, you just motivated them. You encouraged them. You can make them, step up and actually become leaders of it. And they're your ambassadors in getting everyone else on board with it.
That's perfect. That is just perfect. So right before, I'm going to segue a little, because right before we came on, you held up this book and you kind of teased me with it. And I want to know more. And we didn't get to talk about America's Leading Ladies. Would you share?
Yes.
Yay.
I've been in a bunch of leadership books, and this one, not that there's favorites, but I just love the concept. It's actually 50 women in America.
Wow.
I am one of them. And, Oprah, and we have Melinda Gates and others who are part of this book. But it really is, like she says, stories of courage, challenge, and triumph. Because a lot of times people think, you're a leader, therefore your life was easy. You did the studies and you made it there, No. It's different things that we have chosen. The willingness to be scrutinized, to do something no one else is also willing to do, and stand forward and be that leader. Or sometimes it's actually leading from letting others be in the front, and so there's a lot of misconceptions, but what I love is there's just so many different stories in here. Just different kinds of people, that some you've heard their names your whole life and others that you haven't. And yet each showing that there was never anything that could hold them back, could stop them. And yet now they're that inspiration for others to know they never have to give up.
I'm so glad you said that. I just find that people who have persistence and they say, I'll find a way or make a way, are the leaders. They're the success stories. They're the leaders. So where can we get the book?
Well, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
So you can get there's a Kindle version, and then there's an actual physical book. You can go to americasleadingladies.com to purchase the book, or Amazon for the Kindle version. My chapter was actually about being a leader today and for the future. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times, most of us are not adding to our lives. I don't know how to describe it, but we're so focused on, okay, what's happening in my life or my family's life today? What's happening at work today? But they're really not willing to include the magic and the whispers of the future to help their today, but also know we need to be looking at not just what's going to happen today.
Yeah.
We need to include the future, and we need to include Mother Earth. And I think that's the other thing that most people really do not. And, you know, that's one of my very, I don't know, the thing that's closest to my heart isn't we have to save Mother Earth, but it's us becoming leaders, coming forward and doing things different, inspiring people to do things different. That includes a thriving, sustainable living Earth, not just I'm in business, therefore I'm going to do this and I don't care about the consequences of it, you know? So
I'm glad you brought that up. And since, you know, we're talking about also focusing on the future. So I've been in business like 43 years now, and business is cyclical. I tell people that all the time. I've been through recessions, I've been through political changes, I've been through a dot-com crash. You know, I could just go on and on. There's been so many different things, 9/11, blah, blah, blah. And because I was always thinking not only about the future of my company, but like the future of the world. What would I need to do so I could still help and serve people if this happened, or if this happened, or if this happened? And I've always really cared, not just about the planet and the environment, how can my business help humanity? And so even if it's a recession, even if it's a dot-com crash, even if it was a horrific 9/11, whatever it is, literally taking my business and saying, how can my business help these things that could happen, that may happen? And when they do, I feel like, you know, we're certainly not sitting here hoping for tragedies, and things happen. We're ready to shift. And I hope that more companies even think about that, whether it is environmental, whether it is thinking about what it's going to be like for a worker in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Even getting my company completely remote so many years ago, when everybody thought that was just ridiculous to like have 27 people worldwide and not to have an office. And I said, no, remote's the way it's going to be, and we're not going to meet people in person. We're going to do everything over Zoom. I was the 4th beta tester for Zoom. So I really want people to think about that. Like wherever you are today, watching this, hearing this, reading this, what could be coming in the future, and how will your business not just sustain, add value to the life and the health of the world? Does that make sense?
oh yeah, you pretty much described my life. I mean, you know, I was traveling every week to a new country because it was about empowering others to have tools to create a different kind of world for themselves and their businesses. One thing I shared with you, you know, for me, I work with businesses, but I also work with communities, and empowering others has always been one of my, I don't know, it's just part of my blood. I don't know how else to describe it. And people knowing that, you know what, there is a different life. And the whole online thing, I did plenty online, and I was one of the beta people on Zoom as well.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know, it's definitely part of it, but it was never 100%. You know, we had plenty of things that we did in person, and we have to look as not just the world is changing today, but like the future.
Yeah.
What is the future going to require of our business today, of each of us as leaders today? You know, Terri, one of the things that I love is I also have a program called Leaders of Tomorrow. And it's about empowering not just the next generation, but it's about empowering people to actually be leaders of that future. What we put in place today to be that. And it starts at the age of 8 and goes to over 100. It brings CEOs, different people from the organization, but it brings kids of all ages. It brings massage therapists. It brings stay-at-home moms or dads. It's this whole universal program, which is so magical for me. Because did you know there's more 12-year-olds that have small businesses than any other category?
No, I did not know that. It's fascinating.
Did you know during the dot-com crash, the female-owned small businesses is what helped the economy come up?
That I did know, and I'm glad our audience now knows it.
So I'm just like, I think so often we keep thinking, oh, small business, medium business, this is an enterprise, whatever. No, each of us
Mm.
can be a leader. Each of us can make a difference to the people around us, and everything touches everyone else. Something I can do in Portugal is going to have like that domino effect, that butterfly effect happening in Africa, happening in Australia. So like each of us actually is such a great, have the possibility to have the greatest impact in the whole world.
That is just so well said. I resonate with you. I've got goosebumps talking to you. Where can people go to find out about Leaders of Tomorrow? I love that.
Well, they can go to lalehhancock.com, and they can also go to belapemo.com. It's BELAPEMO.com.
Wow, sounds great. And then they can get the book, America's Leading Ladies. I think there's one other piece. We only have a few minutes, but I can't let you go because this was really up for me. You talk about creating profound wellness in people's bodies and in their lives. And I can't let you go without saying, say more.
Oh, yeah. What's funny? When I first started my management consulting company, I had been an executive for a long time, and I watched myself and my peers and how we would make our health be secondary while the deadlines and everything else in the business was primary. And then when I started consulting, I saw how many businesses struggled when the leaders were not being leaders to their own lives. So I actually created a business called Global Wellness for All, and started bringing those tools into the businesses of really, it's not just what you eat. It's not the exercise. Okay, that's one small piece of the bigger pie. There's this oneness of you. You interact with people, whether they're your family, friends, coworkers, clients, or anybody else. That's your relationship, your money. When there's financial issues, there's such a different stress level and effect going on in your physical body, your emotional body, your everything. Then there's your actual body, like nutrition. There's things that work for you that will not work for your children. There's things that work for you that will not work for your mother. So it's finding what is that for you and your physical body. And so I actually do a lot of programs for people to have a different communion and communication with their bodies. We do business. We even have a program called Nurturing Your Body While You Grow Your Business.
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, keep going. I'm sorry, that's a huge wow. I've never heard somebody do that.
It is. And so there is like just think about it, the moments where you just took a break, got your nails done, or you went running, something you did that just made you and your body feel really good. It has a domino effect on your life and your business. Your clients, you will engage more clients coming to you when you did that one thing for you and your body. Wow. And then you exude that energy. So it's amazing, and that's what we talk about, is that oneness of you bringing wellness in all parts of your life.
I love the way you state it, oneness of you. Like you can't see it. I have goosebumps, and that's how I know something oscillates. This has been like such a joyful conversation. So the book is America's Leading Ladies, and then Leaders of Tomorrow. Were those the best ways to connect with you?
Yeah. And, we're all over social media. So if you get us on Belapemo, or you get us on Global Wellness for All, we have lots of programs. And then I have some new businesses that are launching. So just keep an eye open for that. Yeah.
So definitely stay in touch with me. I'll want to know more about those new businesses. And I'm definitely glad that we've met, and I'm happy to have you on the journey. Laleh, you're like a brand new friend and a wealth of sunshine. Thank you so much for being with us today at Entrepreneur Radio and TV.
Thank you so much. So grateful for you and for the listeners.
Thank you. And so as we sum up for our viewers, for our listeners, if you're reading the blog post, just make sure you're subscribed and that you come and that you pay attention so that you can learn every single week. I bring all kinds of guests for you. So no matter what area of your business or your life that you're looking to have more of something in or less of something, stress, frustration, struggles, we're here for you. And then the other thing that I want to say is we have a community of about 5,100 entrepreneurs. We do business together, we speak together, we lift each other up together, and we would truly love to have you. That is on Facebook. It is Entrepreneur with Terri Levine. Entrepreneurs with Terri Levine. I'll say it one more time. Entrepreneurs with Terri Levine. Totally look forward to seeing you in the community. As soon as you get in, go into the documents. There's files, templates, checklists, reports, all for you. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for joining us here today at Entrepreneur Radio and TV. Bye now.
You've been listening to Entrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terri Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terri's latest blog posts at www.entrepreneur.com/blog or follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Entrepreneur Terri Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terri on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.